Hey folks, this is Kalani. Patch 10.15 is finally here, and with it comes a whole new round of content to explore and plunder. We've got new group activities, some new solo world content, lots of storylines to work through, and we're setting up the next chapter in the Dragonflight story. But with so many options and so much going on, what should you do first in the new patch? Well, that's what we're going to break down in this video. There are some quests that you'll want to get done, and some rewards you should be going after, but there are various ways that you can save time depending on what you are most interested in. So here's what to do first in patch 10.1.5 and how you can avoid wasting your time. Now before we jump in, be sure to hit up that like button and subscribe so you never miss another video. First things first, the most exciting piece of new content we have in 10.1.5 is probably the Megadungeon. As with most mega dungeons that have been introduced, there is a quest line for you to follow. You can start this in Valdrakken up on top of the Seat of the Aspects. The quest is called Dawn of the Infinite, and if you follow through that quest line, you'll see what's been going on with the Bronze Dragonflight, how close Nozdormu is to turning into Murozond, what the plan is to try and stop that, and you'll get some mischievous scheming that's been going on behind the scenes. So if you're interested in seeing where the overarching story of Dragonflight is going, or you just want that extra backstory for what's going on in the Mega Dungeon, go get those quests squared away. But if you aren't really interested in any of that, you don't actually have to do any of the quests leading up to the Mega Dungeon. Previously, when Mega Dungeons were introduced, those quest lines were kind of an attunement. They were required for you to enter and play through the Mega Dungeon. But that is not the case for Dragonflight or the Dawn of the Infinite Dungeon. The quests are completely optional, so if you would rather just hop straight into the Mega Dungeon and try your hand at the hard mode, or just clearing through it for the first few weeks, you can hop straight into the Mega Dungeon, which will save you some time. The quests and the quest line also don't really seem to reward you with anything super special for completing them. It's mostly just handfuls of flight stones, so you won't be missing out on much if you do decide to skip them. The bosses in the Mega Dungeon drop item level 437 loot, which can be upgraded to item level 441, and a lot of them have very special effects. The weapons and trinkets in particular seem to be pretty good, and if you can complete the Mega Dungeon on the hard mode, the last boss actually has its item level drops upgraded to 441, which can then be bumped up to 447 on the new myth track. So if you can manage a perfect clear, there are some very shiny rewards waiting for you at the end. The last boss can also drop quantum mount or quantum transmog items. The quantum mount is rare and turns into one of the old raid mounts from what I've seen, and then the quantum transmog items just seem to turn into old transmog that you don't have collected, so that can help you fill up those collections as well. All of the bosses will also give you 5 aspect crest fragments, so you can collect aspect crests to massively upgrade your gear. I know so many guildies are going to run the Mega Dungeon on multiple characters already, and they will continue to run it weekly just to have a chance at those quantum items from the last boss. So there are a lot of reasons to run the Mega Dungeon, even if you aren't strictly just interested in the gear drops. Now the other major new content type in this patch is the time rifts. These are way more accessible and have a wider range of rewards to chase after. There is another quest in Valdrakken that you can pick up that points you towards the time rift content to Sordormi's aid. That quest will send you straight over the time rift area, but you can also skip over that quest if you want and just go straight to the Tyrhold Reservoir, which is just east of Valdrakken. It's really hard to miss. There's a giant horn on the map now that tells you when the next time rift is going to start. That's where you need to go if you want to take part with a time rift. So if you pop on over there, you should be able to see Sordormi and pick up the quest When Time Needs Mending. The quest asks you to complete a time rift, and that will reward you with a contained paracausality, which is just a box of goodies related to the time rift content. So you can get lots of paracausal flakes, drake crests, and items to get more rewards from the time rifts themselves. It's worth noting that this quest currently cannot be completed in a raid group, so if you want to finish this and get that reward without wasting your time, you'll need to do a time rift without joining a raid, which is a little silly in my opinion. Large group content should always work while in a raid group. That seems to be what it's really designed for anyway, but for now, if your quest isn't completing, that might be why. Try do it without joining a raid. As a quick little side note, this week's Aiding the Accord quest in Valdrakken requires you to complete a time rift, so if you do want to check out the time rift content, be sure to pick up the Aiding the Accord weekly quest before you head on over. As for the time rifts themselves, there are two major stages to each event. The first event is in the surrounding area. You'll be asked to complete different objectives like killing monsters, killing elites, solving puzzles, rescuing allies, all sorts of stuff. The more objectives you complete, the more essence you collect at the top of your screen. The more essence everyone collects, the better boxes of rewards you can get, and you can get these multiple times per day even. So you want to work together with everyone around you to get the best rewards possible. If you get the epic chests that can even include some of the trinkets that we'll see later on. When the timer runs out, the rift itself will open up in the middle of the arena. Just run on over and click on the rift to go inside. You'll face off against a boss that depends on the type of monsters that were invading Azeroth during Phase 1, and there are quite a few different alternate timelines bleeding over right now, so we get to fight against warlocks, the Lich King, Old Gods, Illidan, Megadungeon, all sorts. It's really fun. The bosses have a chance to drop various goodies, including dilated time capsules that can be traded in for gear at the time rift vendors. There are also extra quests that you can find during both phases, so if you see an exclamation mark pop up on your map, go on over and see what it is. There are various special items that you can take back to Soridormi for extra paracausal flakes and an achievement, so keep your eyes peeled. You can spend your paracausal flakes at the vendors near Soridormi. There's a bunch of transmog to pick up here, several mounts and pets, powerful new trinkets, tabards, all that fun stuff. I will go take a look through the vendors to see if there's anything specific that you want to pick up. If there is, fantastic, go farm some flakes and buy whatever you want. If there isn't anything of interest on these vendors, then the time rifts might not be content you want to take part in, but that will be up to you to decide. One of the vendors does give you easy access to item level 402 gear on the veteran track, so that will be great for getting your ults caught up quickly. Each item costs one time capsule, so you will need to farm for a little bit to get a full set of gear, but at least it's easy group content, so it doesn't matter too much what item level your ult actually is. You're still going to get credit for everything that the group does. The time rifts seem to be on a 1 hour timer and always start on the hour, so be sure to check your map and keep an eye out on the time for when the next event is going to start. Now, something else you can start working on is the Whelp daycare questline. Whenever you log in, or next go to Valdrakken, you should get a little visitor with a quest for you to pick up called Eggs in Abundance. This is the start of the Whelp daycare story. You'll be recruited to help take care of a few eggs, hatch them, and create appropriate nests for them at the daycare. Then you get to work with the daycare specialists to figure out what each whelp needs to become the best dragon they possibly could be. You get each whelp as a pet, as well as various other rewards, but from what I understand, your progress in this is quite heavily time-gated, so you can only do so much every day. So the sooner you start, the sooner you'll be able to get all of those pets. If you have an evoker, you should also totally check out the new augmentation spec. It's pretty simple on the face of things, you just want to try and keep most of your buffs up, but it has some interesting nuances that can really help out your group. It looks like augmentation is doing very well in raid settings, and if you go look at raider.io, all of the top Mythic Plus keys right now have an augmentation evoker, so obviously they're doing very well in dungeons as well. I would encourage you to not look at any damage meters in-game to try and gauge the usefulness of an augmentation evoker. They don't attribute the augmentation's damage to the evoker like logs do, so if you see yourself below the tank in damage in game, that's not all that you are contributing. It's a bit of a weird one, but you're amping up everyone else's damage instead of just rocking out by yourself. It is very much a team-based spec, and it's really interesting in my opinion. So if you've been waiting for kind of a support role in WoW, this is as good as you can get right now, and I think it's definitely worth trying just to see if you like it. It's also a great time to play some characters or ults that may have been left behind. On the character screen, any old characters should have the option to get a quick gear upgrade. This will let you clear your quest log, clear your bags, give you a new set of bags, a set of new level and spec appropriate gear, and let you very quickly kickstart your adventures on that character. No worrying about whether your gear still works, or if you have the right items for the spec you want to play, or even what quests you were previously working on. It's a fresh, clean slate for any character in the lower levels of the game, so if you've been waiting to play some of your ults, this new feature can get you all shipshape and ready to go. There are various other updates in this patch as well, like the new transmog tracking feature. If you've been wanting to do some transmog hunting but didn't really fancy the idea of searching through Google and Wowhead and finding the exact item, and then which vendor or boss it comes from, and then where that vendor or raid or dungeon is located, well, do I have great news for you. With the new transmog tracking feature in-game, you can just shift-click on transmog to add it to your tracking window. If you then click on those links on the side, it will show you exactly where that item comes from and give you a pin on your map to notate where the raid or dungeon entrances are, or for the case of a vendor, where the vendor is on the map. So no more Googling or Wowheading, you just have to go find a piece of gear you like the look of and then follow the pins in-game. That's going to make transmog hunting so much easier and so much more straightforward. And then if you play a warlock, this patch has a whole other kind of content for you to enjoy. You can collect various different customizations for your demonic pets. So one of the first things you're going to want to do as a warlock is pop by the barbershop. You can then play around with all the new variations available for your many demons, and it also tells you where most of these new colors or models will come from. So if you like the look of something specific, you can hunt down those cosmetic options and customize your demons to your liking. There's also a new class quest. You can pick this up in your main city, and it should appear on the map as a new purple quest icon. For Ogrimmar, that's down in the drag. Talk to the quest NPC, take the ride over to the fair, and work through the Warlock class quest to unlock the new type of imp customization. So the Warlocks get a little more content to enjoy in this patch when compared to everyone else. But that's everything you can do right now from the get-go in patch 10.1.5, and what I would recommend you do first to save yourself some time. What are you going to focus on in the new patch? Farming some time rifts to buy all the new transmogs, mounts and pets from the vendors, or maybe working on the Megadungeon for the shiny new loot and quantum collection items? Leave all your thoughts in the comment section below. A big thank you to all of our supporters over on Patreon and to all of our members here on YouTube. You can see the names floating by on screen. If you'd like to add your name to the end of every video with a special shout out at the start of the next video, you can find links in the description over to Patreon or click the join button just below this video. And if you want to see more videos like this, make sure to subscribe and ring that notification bell so you never miss another video. Thanks for watching folks, good luck and have fun, and as always I will see you next time.